We ready for this?
Yep.
I'm Johnny Ray. This is another episode of For Addicts From Addicts, real, raw, unedited, unprepared testimonies of people who have gone through the struggles of addiction. With me today are my guests Catie and Brian, who have agreed to share a little bit about their story and what they've gone through to help others get through their struggle with addiction. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Catie and Brian. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Catie.
Brian.
So we're a couple. We've been together for almost 3 years now. And so our new clean date, mine is August 15th of
August 17th.
of this year, 2020, and his is the 17th. And the reason for it is an unfortunate accident that happened with me, which was it was a failed, threatened, attempted suicide. That I slipped out of a window, and so now my jaw's wired shut. I have stitches on both sides of my eyes. My eyes were bleeding, and from what I understand, apparently I had been dead at the scene and was revived, and by the grace of God, I'm here.
Stemming from
Man, I don't know how it happened.
methamphetamine.
Yeah, let's start with how long have you guys been using drugs for?
I'll start with mine. I came from a broken home. I didn't realize who I was or what my name was until I was 12 years old. I was not molested but raped at the age of 9. After that, my dad left, my stepdad. I traveled all over the country. Every year of my life, I went to 2 different schools. I was beaten from the time I can remember, which makes it to where I don't have memory or recollection. Pretty vague before 7 years old. All that put together, I started using at 9 years old.
Using what?
Marijuana and alcohol. And it was pretty rough. I didn't know any better. Didn't even know what sex was. So it kind of messed me up. From there, we moved back over to Washington, and I started hard drug use at the age of 12. I was using methamphetamine and mushrooms and LSD. Pretty much anything I could get my hands on, I mixed and combined. I spent a lifetime of that for my entire life. So it wasn't until I was, this is from 12 years old on through 36. So I left home at the age of 14. I lived on the streets, couch surfing, stealing clothes out of Navy guys' bathrooms, just using any kind of drugs I can get my hands on, sleeping under bridges. I've been a homeless kid just my whole life using drugs. I started using needles probably from 16 on through 21. I quit. I moved down to Texas. Had a child. I took custody of her. I got with my kids' mom, had 2 more children. We lived together for about 10 years. Continuous active drug use, severe alcoholism. To where I would wake up and puke my guts out and drink cigarette butts and whatever it took. It was disgusting. Malt liquor, 211, earthquakes, the worst. I started using needles again towards the end of that relationship for about 4 years. Everything broke apart. My children and my kids' mom, after I went to jail, ended up living in a storage unit for almost a year or 2, which really broke them. I ended up in a stolen car with a gun, methamphetamine, needles, no contact order, active DOC violation. It was a wrap for me. I was looking at 10 years. They gave me DOSA. I'm currently on DOSA. I'm serving a prison sentence. But it woke me up, and I got clean from October 1st, 2015, all the way till just recently on August. I just got clean again. But after I got out of prison, I was out for close to a year, and I met Catie. So we had 2.5 years clean together, which was part of my 5 years. And then
It was actually over that.
yeah,
Almost.
so-
I had almost 3 years clean.
Yeah.
So now, Catie, share a little bit about yours up until the point where you guys met, and then talk about your guys' relationship.
So up until the point where we met,
from the beginning.
from the beginning. So
First of all, thank you for being a trooper and talking in this.
Yeah.
This cannot be easy with
I'm
the
gonna
way.
adjust my lip a little
Unprepared is
bit.
completely correct.
That's okay
I was
though.
not ready for that.
I'm always ready to talk, honestly, because I am okay with where I'm at now. So when I was young, I grew up with my mom my whole life. It's only been me and her. So for the first half, it was pretty decent. I have a sister with 10 years gap in between us. She's 17 and I'm 28, so I guess that's 11 years. And so about when she was born is when things started getting really rough for us. Otherwise, it was just me and my mom, and we were always poor. My mom has always been really poor, but she made it. She made it work. I did learn how to take care of myself when I was really young. And I learned how to take care of a child too, because my mom kind of had it really rough with me because she was like 16 when she had me. She was really young, and she didn't necessarily neglect her responsibilities as a parent completely, but I did live with my grandma for a long time. We went back and forth. Me and my mom have been homeless together, and me and my mom have also used together. So, I started using marijuana and alcohol when I was 14, and it started getting a little bit out of control when I was about 16 and all through high school. I was drinking every single weekend, smoking weed every single day. I was 17 years old, and I had a 23-year-old boyfriend that came to live with me, which is now my daughter's dad. We were together for 5 years, and our relationship from the beginning was really broken and weird because we kind of met each other on bad terms. So my mom always taught me if it doesn't start right, it's not going to end right, which I believe. That's why I'm blessed to be with him, because when I met him, we were both in a position where I was able to talk to God because I was clean and sober, and I made sure that it was the best decision that was going to be for me, and I made him wait for me for a long time. So anyway, 4 months, 4 whole months. I had to talk to God and make sure.
Yeah, that's a good time for talking God. 4 months solid's great.
Man, it was a 4-month solid, yep. And like we did nothing with each other. Like we would speak and we would hang out and stuff, but it was minimum because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't gonna make the same mistakes that I used to make, you know, with my judgment in guys, with like my own behavior. I didn't want to get out of control. I was in treatment, so I was trying to finish out treatment, and I did finish treatment before we actually got together. We both graduated. He graduated first. And I was there for that, and it was really amazing.
We both worked hard.
We worked
built
very
businesses.
hard. Yes, we did. So, after all the using had started, I started taking pills in high school. I started using meth when I was 22. My daughter was already 2 years old. And the minute it started, I went from pills immediately to methamphetamine, and I broke up with my daughter's dad. He was gone. I had an apartment with my daughter, but she was neglected, man. Like, I just left her in the living room while I just locked myself in a room, and I was just using, and it was just the worst thing ever. She would get sick from me using. I had no business having a child at that point. So I ended up, actually, after about 6 or 7 months, I had already had a DUI for drinking and driving. I don't want to get into that too much, but I had a DUI, so I was on probation. So my mom ended up calling my PO on me. She's been doing it for a long time. Like, she has got no problem putting me in jail and helping me get myself together because, like...
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
No,
I really can thank her for so much stuff that she's done for me. I wish that she wouldn't have gotten involved in a lot of things, but at the same time, My mom has truly saved my life multiple times by the things that she's done to try and protect me. Because I was an only child for so long. So when I started using meth, it was really over. Like, the first time I did it, it just kind of became so powerful over me. Like, I was here and it was way up here. Like, I couldn't control my using. Like, I remember doing it in the shower so no one would catch me. And then from that point, I kicked him out so I could do whatever I wanted, you know? And things just got really bad really quick. My daughter ended up going to my mom. I went to jail. My sentence got suspended. I did a lot of time. I did violation time. I did, what is it called? It's like a suspended sentence time. I did a lot of time. I did like almost a year in county for all just not even 3 months worth of using.
We've both done a lot of time.
Yeah, we have.
I've done years. Just recently, I just did 2 years on a 5-year sentence.
Yeah.
It's rough being in and out of jail and you don't care.
Yeah.
They give you 30 days and it's enough to get off the shit and go right back to it. It's a sleep session. And that's the problem with a lot of the systems now is they just kick you out. They don't give you any help.
Yeah.
And I was begging for help my entire life.
So now, actually, there is a lot of help that they can offer you in jail. It's just whether or not you hear it, you got to be vigilant and you got to hear it. You got to listen for it. You got to know that you're struggling and you got to try and help yourself because they'll offer it to you, but they're only going to do it so many times. So when I got arrested in Kitsap County, actually, I guess I can back up a little bit because so all my drug use from when I lost my apartment when I went to jail, I lost everything. Everything was gone. My mom couldn't save it. She tried to save it, but I kept using after I got out and I did my time. I went right back to using. I did 6 months and I went right back to using. And then my mom ended up using because she told me if you can't beat them, join them. And it really screwed me up. She had my kid. She had my kid, my sister, and then she was with Dan too because they had gotten back together after all these years. They had 2 more other kids. And they had all the kids. And they were using. And now because I kept coming around because I wanted to see my daughter. And I kept coming around high. And my mom had 14 years clean. And so from there, we really struggled as a family to try and hold it together. For the very first time, I shot my mom up with drugs, with methamphetamine when I was like 23. She was living in an RV in the Walmart parking lot with all my kids. And I was right there trying to stay with her as much as I could. I mean, I did it in good heart because I didn't want her to continue to hurt herself. However, it was the worst mistake I ever made.
Fishing her veins out?
My mom has the worst marks on her arms and legs and everywhere that I've ever seen in my whole life.
And that's her mom too.
That's my mother. I never seen her use before. And then here I go off and use for the first time and I get into it and then she just went off. And I never seen nothing like it. She was a little bit different than me. We had a little bit different traits, toxic traits, but at the end of the day, I spent so much time in my life with my mom that me and her are very similar in a lot of ways too.
And I think we came from some similar drug usage. We've done just about anything. I've stolen from my grandmother.
Oh, yeah.
Priceless heirlooms that are just tens of thousands of dollars that I got $50 for. You know, they're gone. Never gonna see them again. A ring with 100 diamonds in it. I mean, it was an engagement ring, dude. My grandfather was pissed. I've stolen guns from him. They got found on the street with a drug dealer. I have sold myself, not to men, but to women.
Yeah.
I didn't get to that point. Butthole's too much for me.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah,
That
it's
real
horrible.
raw. That's great.
I ended up living in a tent with a box of cereal and a gallon of milk that I couldn't keep cold. I had hypothermia 3 times. I almost died because I couldn't reach the blanket in front of me, and the sun came up and started warming me up, and it saved my life. I almost died in that tent and froze to death. And I didn't care because I'd lost my family, my children.
Yep.
Because I was in my bedroom. I locked myself in my bedroom and just shot up 10 times a day, you know, if not more.
He did a lot.
A lot. And I tried to kill myself. I put so much meth in the rig, it wouldn't draw up any water. And it went to 90, and I put it all in my vein, and I collapsed in the woods and woke up in a pile of sweat and drool, staring at the leaves, thinking cops were walking around me everywhere while I was curled in a bush with pine needles everywhere. It was horrible.
Yucky.
I went to jail for domestic violence that time, and I have a lot of domestic violence charges that stemmed from somebody beating me up, my baby's mom, which I went to jail every time, which might have saved my life because I noticed everything slipping downhill doing all that. And
so let's talk about what just recently happened with you guys. First of all, amazing. I mean,
yeah,
I asked for raw and they gave me raw. That's exactly. These are the stories that help people. Let's be perfectly honest. The real or the raw are the better. Mm-hmm. And from what I'm hearing, it always the stories have a little bit of different variances, but they all have to do with these terrible spirals of out of control.
When you're going into Safeway and sticking a gallon jug of wine down your pants and trying to walk out with it, it's freaking horrible.
Stupid.
Just so you can puke your guts out and do it again.
I know. No, it's true. I didn't get into alcohol too much, but
we built a beautiful life together, clean and sober.
We did.
For how long?
It was
3 years. Almost.
It was almost 3 years. We relapsed right before I hit 3 years clean, which was in July on the 17th on my birthday. My clean date was my birthday, 7/17/17. That was my clean date, and we used right before it in June.
Yeah, so we started a little bit of drinking.
Yeah, started with an anniversary.
We thought we would be all right.
Yeah, we totally did.
That lasted a few months.
We talked each other into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, until I started drinking a fifth of Fireball all over myself.
Idea it was.
You know, it's like, okay, that's dumb.
Yeah, no.
Right back into alcoholism.
I actually did it with you too, and I didn't like alcohol that much.
And you're like, yeah, I'm good.
Usually one goes with the other. I mean, it doesn't really matter what if you're in a relationship, but if you don't do meth, but they're doing meth, hey, I'm doing meth now.
That's what happened too.
She started a business. A successful business. I run a company. I'm starting a business on my own through all this. Yeah. I started to notice my work ethic go downhill, as well as hers. We're losing clients. I knew she had needles from a client she had.
Yeah, I just stole them. I started stealing from my clients.
At that point, we had smoked some meth. You know, it was all right.
We had already done that.
We held everything together. We kept all our shit. We didn't sell anything.
Once those needles came in, man.
I knew she had them, and I called her out. I'm like, "Come on, if you're gonna do it, we're doing it together."
He knew, and I didn't even know he knew at all.
Oh, I know things.
They were only in the
lifetime
hospital
of drug
all day.
use. You can see it.
Right.
You're like, I know.
Yeah.
I had a guilty conscience, and I got it written all over my face.
So
man,
at that point, we had some. I mean, we didn't do it all the time, so we always had it. And it was like, from that point, it was a couple months of, or no, not even 30 days, huh? I think it was about a month of intravenous drug use. And, and we don't get along.
We don't.
It's not okay.
Most people don't.
I get really, really bipolar.
It's both, and it's bad.
Yeah.
So when I went to mental health here after I got released from the hospital, I realized that not only am I so blessed and so grateful to be alive, so I'm so positive now.
Let's go back to that. After you went to mental health, right after what happened to you?
Mental health.
Let's talk about your guys' thing, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to touch on. So with mental health, I realized that every behavior that was toxic, not all of it, but most of all those behaviors were all drug-induced. I realized that drugs had
even the
all
ones
the
we
power.
had before we got together. We came into this with toxic
traits already because we're addicts and we didn't learn how to deal with each other.
Yeah.
we got along and we worked together and we coexisted great together for so long.
Once that drug use from the day one.
There's always going to be things in a relationship that are not going to link up perfectly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things to be learned when in a new relationship with somebody, especially from somewhere that I didn't know. Because I came to Kitsap County to get high. I didn't come there to get clean. I got arrested
She got
for
stuck there, and I found her.
I got stuck there because of the drugs. They were there, and I was like,
They call it Kidnap County for a reason.
Yep, we got hoodies.
Yeah.
They say Kidnap County with some handcuffs on the back too. But I didn't come there to get clean, and I didn't. And I actually I did, because I got arrested for a res burg that was out of pure paranoia. So I caught 2 felonies. I caught a meth charge and a residential burglary charge. I was already robbing all sorts of houses. I was doing so bad. I was not doing good at all. I was committing so many crimes in one day that a lot of people that I would surround myself with couldn't even understand how I wasn't in prison. And it was all because I was putting needles in my arms. Man, the needles really just
They'll destroy anybody.
Like,
quickly.
I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I was becoming. I just roll with the punches every day, and so getting locked up for
And
that.
I met such a beautiful person sitting in an AA hall.
Wow.
So
I didn't talk to her that time, and then I seen her on the bus on my way to treatment. She didn't get off the bus, which was unfortunate. I was like, damn.
I had shit to do. I
And
was
then
doing good.
And then I'm sitting in the treatment center, and then there she is. She's like, I'm a special kind of crazy, and I was like,
That's the one.
yep.
I
And
am
then
too. We didn't understand what that really meant until,
Yeah,
hello, here
yeah.
we are.
So,
A special kind of crazy. That just
and
has
one
to
day
show.
we're late for the bus. There's about 10 of us going to catch the bus, and I'm riding a bicycle, and she's like, give me a ride on your handlebars. And I'm like,
Yeah.
come on. She was just kidding, and I'm like, get on. She's like, well,
We
fuck.
made the
I opened my
bus.
mouth. But yeah, we made the bus.
Yeah, we did.
And then we made a beautiful life.
And
So,
nobody else did.
now with what happened in our relationship, we have to work on what the key things of both our demons come from.
Yeah.
Mine is my fucked up childhood. Hers
It's not
probably
necessarily my childhood, but it
close to the
was
same.
there was a lot of childhood things. So I was also molested. I was molested a lot when I was a child. I
And
wasn't
that's the
necessarily
stem-
raped. I was raped more when I was an adult. I was raped by men when I was an adult. Like, you know what I mean?
And
I
I
got into
think that's-
relationships that I didn't want to be in, but they were there and they kept a roof over my head. It wasn't necessarily the worst thing I'd ever done, so I was okay with it. But I got
And
into
to
some
let
really
those
bad
things
relationships.
out and even say them took me half my lifetime.
Yeah.
I still haven't told my mom. I haven't, she knows me better than anybody because I've released some of the demons,
Yeah.
And just to speak them helps wonders just to
let it go.
yeah, and that's
Because that's when it's
the
giving it to
start of
God.
recovery, and you learn that you have to work on the
core.
core
Yeah.
of those problems and what you're covering up subconsciously. You may not even be like, let me stick a needle in it to
I forget everything.
but you don't. The human
But
body
it's
doesn't
still
work
there.
like that. You've already hidden it so far.
So
that
when you get clean,
and when you're high, you don't think about it at all. So you're like, okay,
yeah,
I'm
it's
good.
it's just whatever. You're doing different stuff. You're keeping busy
Yeah.
doing all these horrible things.
And
whatever
all
it
this
is.
time subconsciously, you're covering up those things that happened.
So that's why it's really important to get counseling as,
Yeah, I had a lot of
immediately
counseling.
as possible.
You can tell. No, you guys are speaking it. That's you're
Yeah.
speaking it.
We
You
both
can tell.
had a lot of counseling.
Took
I've been
many
to
years.
inpatient treatment 4 times and completed twice. I actually been 6 times, but
And
I
now we're
didn't
gonna do
stay
a
for more
recap.
than a day. So we're going back. Actually, on Monday we're gonna go and sign up to get back into treatment because whether or not we lost everything, which we didn't really, I lost a lot. People come and rob my house and stuff. I think. I don't know.
We got to know about the incident.
So this
is very
incident,
important.
this is the okay. So I
And maybe
never,
even zoom, come in closer to the camera on the
I never
laptop
ever.
so you can see your face. I'm
broke
sorry,
a
I'm not trying to
bone.
make a spectacle. You know that,
No,
right?
it's totally fine.
It's
I
just
never
a
broke a
thing.
bone in my whole life, and I broke my cheekbone. I broke my eyebrow bone. Stitches just came out yesterday when I got these ones. This accident happened more than 2 weeks ago when I got my jaw wired shut. I got wires in my jaw and I'm drinking out of a straw. Campbell's
And this
tomato
is what
soup.
she did to avoid the hurt of drug
You're
use.
good. You can still
And-
close now.
Yeah, it's pretty gory, really.
Because we
No,
love
it's
each other
fine.
so much.
We're able to work through this stuff. And
She was really depressed about it. She wasn't in her mental state. She was not making sense.
Yeah, I really wasn't.
So talk about it. What did you do? What ended up happening?
So I had come home after being gone all night again. All I was doing was driving around in my car. I never really went as far as doing anything super, like, something abnormal. But when I did, it was just the most obvious thing. And I did so bad that it really
She opened up to me about her actions that had taken place during our drug use.
yeah.
We were talking about where we're going in life and what it's done to us, and we were both really depressed about it. We were crying.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm going to go out the window.
I'm just, because
I talked her back in,
So, yeah.
and then I'm driving
I
down the
lost my
road. I
grip.
turn the corner. She jumps up, puts her butt on the windowsill.
My leg was
And I
already out.
I look at the road to slow down, and I look back, and she's gone. I stop the vehicle. I get out. I rush up to her. She's sitting there, no color in her eyes, staring at the sky, dead. I didn't know what to do, so I grabbed the truck and I backed it up to try to take her to the hospital. At that point, she's convulsing and shaking and bleeding out of both eyes.
I don't know any of this.
I scoop her up in my arms and bring her back to life, to consciousness, and call
remember.
911. They're getting aggravated with me because I'm like, I don't know where I'm at. You have to GPS my phone.
We were in the middle of nowhere.
A couple had
We
rolled
were-
up as they just came out of nowhere and were trying to help me. It took forever for the ambulance to get there, but yeah. And then they didn't have her anywhere in any hospitals. There was a roadblock on the highway. Couldn't get to the hospital, so I spent a week not knowing anything. And 2 days after she went to the hospital, I ended up using again because I was completely
Blown away.
devastated. I'd lost the love of my life. I didn't know if I was ever going to see her again. I didn't really know she was dead because none of the hospitals would tell me anything, and she did die twice. She died in my arms, and I bring her back
He
to
has
life.
the shirt that my eyes
Her-
were bleeding from and stuff.
Her head is on either shoulder with blood everywhere. It was the most
Oh my gosh.
eye-opening experience. It's burnt into my brain forever, and it'll be a huge motivator in changing my life, because that's horrible. That's the most
What's done
fucked
to
up thing
me.
I've ever seen in my life.
I know.
When the person you love is dead in your arms, and you're trying to wake him up, like I'm freaking out, dude.
And my mom had to identify my body too at the hospital. I can't even imagine what these people have gone through. I really don't remember as soon as I got out the window. I remember being in the window, but I don't remember anything else.
And with
Until
that,
I woke up in the hospital with my jaw wired shut,
1 minute.
Is it 1 minute?
No, keep going. Forget the camera.
That's okay.
The
I mean-
no, the laptop can record instant. And I don't want you guys to stop. So keep
Yeah,
going.
so
Forget
so
the camera. Go to
really-
the laptop.
I think that this is the biggest blessing because we are both clean and sober. We're both going to be going back to treatment, and we
I'm
didn't
still
lose our
DTing
whole house. So am
From-
I.
What's today? The 29th?
Still going
From the
through it, man.
17th.
You're getting
I'm
old.
still
You're getting old.
still
Boys.
crawling all around on the floor because
Yeah.
we were doing
The doctor didn't even want to give me pain meds, man.
what's the one? It's
Fentanyl.
fentanyl.
So
Oh gosh.
they were
dude.
they're mixed
Perk
in
30s
with all the
are
perk 30s now,
fentanyl.
so be very careful.
We are.
You take one hit and
And
you're
it just-
sleeping in your lap.
Yep,
One
and
hit.
they're just horrible.
And we were smoking them a whole pill in one sitting.
So, needless to say, all the pain that I'm going through is pretty intense because for a long time
I'm
I
still
felt nothing.
DTing. It's over 10 days later.
I felt nothing at all. I I couldn't recollect what English was. Even.
So that had
Like,
I mean, the meth, the fentanyl,
we
the
also were on
heroin.
heroin too, smoking heroin off
Yeah.
the foil,
So
and we ended up mixing it.
Heroin
in
ain't
drugs
nothing.
Too. It's
heroin
just,
ain't shit. It's garbage. It
It's so
doesn't
gross.
do anything.
Yeah,
when
That
you're on
fentanyl's
it.
killing people.
it is.
It really
it's the
is.
newest thing.
So even my drug dealer was like, I'm really not trying to give you too many of these because they just killed one of my best friends. And
And yet
I'm
he's
like-
still
Yeah.
giving it to
I'm
you.
like, hey,
Yeah.
let's not get into
So
it.
it's bad
you know?
out there, and for
It
us
is
to
bad.
wake
It's
up
so
now
bad.
is a really good thing.
So why? First of all, thank you guys so
Of
much
course.
for sharing
Yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah.
Why did you guys agree to do this video?
Because we
'Cause
had
I-
a story to tell.
And
Nice.
that was just touching the
We had-
iceberg.
That's really,
I have
if
stories
anybody
for
gets to
days
meet
of
us-
things that I have done in my addiction that I'm so ashamed of
oh yeah,
that go beyond.
yeah.
I don't even know how I did it and live with myself as a person. Honestly,
Yeah, I know, huh?
I've degraded myself to the lowest of the low.
Oh my gosh, when you said something about getting a cat high, you fucked me up. We got a cat. Her name is Missy, and he's allergic to cats. He picked her out, okay? And I love her. And
But I think
it fucked me up too. Like some of this.
I think this will make us stronger.
It's
and,
going to. Absolutely, it's
you
going to
know.
make us stronger. We're still strong. We're a power couple.
Yeah, we
When
always
we're
have been.
sober, we are
We made
such a
moves
power couple.
to make $1 million, dude, and we're gonna. So
Yeah, I wanted to help people, and so I would
Yeah.
clean houses. That's what my thing was, and a lot of it was to create relationships with people because before I started using, I stopped working a program, and I lost a lot of friends. I just stopped talking to them, so I wanted to create good relationships with people. So I started a cleaning business, but it got really hard. I had to be my own accountant. I had to do deductions. I had to deal with all the government stuff, and I figured it out. But
now
it was
you're
hard.
in your comfort zone. We've lived together out of her comfort zone,
Yep.
and now it's time for me to switch it up and be
It
out of
took a
my
long
comfort
time
zone.
for me to open up more so than him, which was amazing because I'm an open book usually, but you know, I
don't care anymore. Who knows what I've done?
Yeah,
I don't give
Awesome.
a shit.
Well,
I
you
don't
guys-
give a shit either, really.
You guys'
5
story
years of
matters.
sobriety did that.
We got strong recovery together as a couple.
I
we
was
got
solid for a
strong
long
use.
time.
We
5
got
years.
strong drug use, and we got a huge story. Like, we got a big story. If anybody ever gets to meet us, I hope you are able to come up and talk to us because, like, I got a huge story to tell, especially after my
I
accident.
got ways that I kept clean for 5 years and didn't use even
Oh,
in
yeah.
prison. There's more. I can get drugs easier in prison than I can on the street.
So if a couple was to reach out to me and say they needed help with their relationship
Oh.
and drug addiction, can I turn it
Yeah.
over to you guys to talk?
Absolutely, we've been
For sure.
through it all, man. Now we've
Yeah.
done it all. Really, I mean, mostly.
Yeah.
But we've pretty much done it all. You know what I
We'll
mean?
leave the bedroom
So-
out of that. No, I'm just kidding.
It's R-rated, so you're all good.
But we've done it all.
So thank you.
Except for a lesbian interaction.
Okay. Thank
I'm
you, Ryan.
sorry.
Thank you, Katie. I'm
Okay.
Johnny
It was
Ray.
lovely
Yep.
meeting you.
I'm Johnny Ray. That was another. Oh my gosh, I'm standing behind the camera, just going, "Whoa!" Absolutely amazing, real, raw, unedited, unprepared. If you want to share your testimony with me, you can email me at foraddictsfromaddicts@gmail.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. Check out these videos that could help save your life. Your guys' story matters. Thank you guys so much. That
Thank
was
you
raw
so
and real,
much.
and wow, it's really going to help people. So thank you.
Thank you for having us.
No
We're
problem.
happy to help.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, bye bye.